And just as I said, tonight we have the perfect first guest to kick off our Friday night. She was President Trump's ambassador to Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands, and now she serves as the vice chair of the Center for Energy and Environment at the America First Policy Institute. She is Ambassador Carla Sands, and I am lucky to have her join me from our Washington, D.C. studio. Ambassador, once again, it's such a pleasure to have you here with me tonight.
It's great to be with you, Amanda.
I want to start off with the news that has been dominating headlines all week long ever since, well, I guess over a week ago when the indictments were announced, but obviously Tuesday, President Trump's arraignment. I just want to get your overview thoughts on what that means for our country.
Something has broken that you can't put back together. That's what that means. Every president in the history of our country has been treated with deference. And we could see it with Clinton. We could see it with President Obama, with things that went on. We've seen it currently with President Biden, in spite of the what looks like clear evidence from the FBI. And now they even have the tape recordings of the FBI claims they have, I think it's 15 tape recordings of Hunter Biden and 2 of Joe Biden with the man that bribed them, and that for changes in American laws. And then we know that China and Russia have also been implicated. I think Romania as well in because of the bank records revealing that there has been bribing going on. So it's pretty astonishing what this DOJ, which has been weaponized against Donald Trump. And really, they've been at it since before he was elected. It's tragic for our country. It doesn't seem like it's going to change unless he steps aside. And he has said he is not going to step aside. He says he's fighting for the American people because they're not trying to get to him. They're trying to get to all of us.
Well, and you're absolutely right regarding the deference for presidents, but never mind even a president. Hillary Clinton, who was not president, who served as Secretary of State and before that senator, even she was given deference by Donald Trump, much to the chagrin of his supporters. When President Trump took office, he said, I'm going to let this go. Do Republicans need to learn something from this? Because it feels like every time Democrats smack down Republicans, Republicans get up and just say, OK.
Right. I think it's time for Republicans to bring a gun to the knife fight. That's what I think. I think that they need to take the gloves off. We can see the brave Freedom Caucus in the House have taken the gloves off. And that's the only thing that these rogue leftists are going to understand, because the government has been so weaponized now in a, I believe, unprecedented way. If you see how the FBI and DOJ have treated not just Donald Trump, but people from his administration, you can see how people from January 6th were treated versus all of the BLM Antifa rioters that burned down billions of dollars of businesses and killed people, even in uniform. So I think that, and also regarding Hillary, I mean, we all know that it's been claimed she was having her team smash her computers, her hard drives, to use BleachBit to erase data and to hide something. What? And no one ever investigated that. And the family did enrich the Clinton Global Initiative, I think it was called. They even had an initiative in Canada. And they were taking money from foreign countries into their coffers and then, I believe, using it. And no one has ever investigated that. That's pretty astonishing. The sort of could be pay to play, just like we have in the Biden White House.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with the Bidens, what, 31 million from China, 5 to 7 million from Ukraine, 3.5 million from the widow of Moscow's mayor. I mean, the money flow has been
China. Don't forget China, our biggest adversary.
And, yeah, 31 million.
Right. And then we can see how right now the U.S. government is talking about evacuating American citizens from Taiwan. Well, if you look at what happened in Russia and how with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, how American businesses had to leave Russia, American businesses should begin to plan. What does that look like if there is a conflict over Taiwan? Certainly, they can't continue to operate in China. It would be very damaging to their reputation and their bottom line. So we have to look at what does it look like in reality if there's a conflict over Taiwan. When the U.S. government is saying we are making a plan to evacuate American citizens from Taiwan, are they also going to evacuate them from the PRC, from the People's Republic of China? Because it's controlled by the Chinese Communist Party.
But you're spot on, and you bring up something that I've thought for a while now. You know, foreign policy is so nebulous and so nuanced. It's not often that you get to see such explicit cause and effect of a president who is allegedly compromised and foreign policy. But with respect to exactly what you're pointing out, and aggression and provocation towards Taiwan, I gotta think that that is the effect of President Biden, not only his foreign policy being a lack of peace through lack of strength, but it's also these really shady business dealings with CEFC and all of the other businesses in China.
Yes, and then you see his team as well. So Blinken is going over to China. China has been disrespectful of the U.S. Recently, very disrespectful. The balloon, we've never dealt with it. We're almost apologizing to them for the balloon they flew over, spying over our country. Yeah. So we know that Blinken was running the Biden Penn Center, right? And so that was largely funded by CCP money, right? Coming from communist China, funding that center, and he was making about $1 million a year. So what do you think he intends to make working with companies that are either doing business in China or directly from state-owned enterprises in China for access to the U.S. market? Maybe he's looking for that $5 or $10 million payday after he leaves his work as the Secretary of State. So we want to watch. The behavior today could be forecasting what they're hoping to do tomorrow. And that goes for all of them. I mean, there's a lot of corruption in the U.S. government because of the bribery and then also the sort of sweet payments from the Chinese Communist Party to help control our legislation and our, I would say, leaders in our country, which certainly the Secretary of State is one.
Yeah. Weakness abroad and weakness here at home. I want to switch gears to the political side of things.
Sure.
Tuesday night, President Trump held this event. It was also a dinner at Bedminster. And, there's so much that mainstream media gets wrong about President Trump's base, the MAGA America First base. And NBC wrote an article, and the title was that the dinner was full of crab cakes, burgers, and rage. And what's astounding to me is that President Trump, for everything that he has been through, not only what he dealt with the media leading up to his election, being spied on, his associates and campaign members being spied on, impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, crossfire hurricane, the Mueller investigation, instance after instance after instance that would probably make a normal person go absolutely crazy with rage. But that's not President Trump, is it?
It's not. In fact, I had the honor of being there at that dinner, and we sang happy birthday to him. I'm a Reagan Republican, and I consider Donald Trump to be the best president in my lifetime because his policies were good for the American people, especially our least educated people. They had their best increase in incomes in my lifetime, and we had the best employment numbers for women, for minorities in my lifetime because of Donald Trump. He was bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. In fact, I think we added about 750,000 new manufacturing jobs during his presidency. And we need more of that manufacturing. We have to bring back making precursors for medications. We're having shortages of meds because we're not getting the precursors from the Chinese Communist Party controlled PRC. We also have to process and mine rare earth minerals here, or at least near here, because China controls most of those. And every cell phone has rare earth minerals, or there are these minerals that we take from the ground that we use in electric car batteries. Some people call them critical minerals, but they're essential to modern life and to our defense. So we have to take care of our economy and our manufacturing here at home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I'm not going to be vulgar, but China has us by the you-know-what with respect to these rare earth minerals, with respect to pharmaceuticals, any of that critical manufacturing. And you're right. We just have to do it somewhere that's not an adversary. And despite the messaging coming from this administration, China is our adversary. Ambassador, it is so wonderful to have you. I always glean so much wisdom from you. So grateful that you could join me tonight to help round out this week of news. You're right there in John's normal seat. So we'll have to have you back on again when he's there, and me too. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Amanda.
All right, everybody, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll be synced up with a man who has his pulse on America's economy and that new legislation the House GOP is looking to pass that saves taxpayers lots of money through credits and incentives. Brandon Arnold is going to join me next. We'll be right back after these commercials.